The natural scale consists of the notes A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. It is called the natural scale because it consists of all natural notes and no accidentals, meaning no sharps or no flat notes. Scales are the key to writing music. The notes of a scale complement each other and can be used together to create chords, melodies, and harmonies, giving you a solid foundation to build or write your own songs, as well as learn your favorite pieces from other musicians. The two most common types of scales are the major and minor scales. A major scale has what some would describe as a bright or happy sound. A minor scale has what some might describe as a mellow, soft, or sad sound. Rather than learning major and minor scales separate, TSTA gives you a jump start by teaching one scale that encompasses both. It's called the natural scale. Scales have what we call key centers or root notes. To determine whether or not a scale is major or minor, in this case, would depend on the root note. The root note is the main note of a song, or in our case, the scale. For example, when using the notes of the natural scale, if your root note is a C note, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, our scale is major. If our root note is an A note, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, our scale is minor. Both the C major and A minor scales share the same notes. This is also known as a relative minor scale. So in the key of C, or C major, A is the relative minor. Pay close attention to our major and minor root notes. Knowing their locations will give you the ability to write a song in the major or minor key and change any song from major to minor. This will also allow you to change keys during a song. There are 7 notes in the natural scale. Therefore, we have 7 scale positions. Each position starts with a different scale note. The beauty of these 7 positions is that they are universal for every key of music. So later on, when we start learning key changes, you will already know the fingering patterns. Since E is the lowest possible note on a standard tune bass, we are going to begin our scale pattern on the E note. In the key of C major, E is the 3rd scale note. C, D, E. 1, 2, 3. So the E position is also known as the 3rd position. Let's begin with a step-by-step approach to playing our scale. First, we'll slowly go through the scale, making sure to use the correct fingers. Then we'll practice it at 2 different speeds. Starting with the notes on the first measure, the 4th string notes, the E note is played on the open 4th string. The F note is played by holding the 1st fret using your 1st finger. Then the G note is played by holding the 3rd fret using your 3rd finger. Allow each note to ring out until the next note is played. For example, on the 4th string, when you are playing the 1st fret, hold that note until you've played the 3rd fret. Then lift the 1st finger from the 1st fret. This will give you a smooth transition between notes. If you are using your fingers to pick these notes, be sure to alternate between the middle and index finger of your picking hand. If you are using a pick, be sure to alternate your picking strokes, down, up, down. In the 2nd measure, the 3rd string notes, play the open A, play B on the 2nd fret, 2nd finger, and play C on the 3rd fret using your 3rd finger. In the 3rd measure, we introduce the second string notes. Play D open on the second string, play E second finger, second fret, and play F third finger, third fret. The fourth measure brings us to the first string notes. Pick G, first string open, A, second fret, second finger, and the B note is on the fourth fret, fourth finger. Keep the thumb of your playing hand directly behind your middle finger in the center of the neck. For the scale position we just learned, your thumb should be behind the second fret for all four strings. A lot of players like to use different fingerings when they are first learning these positions. It might be easier at first, but it doesn't flow as smoothly with the notes on the other strings. I suggest that you practice each scale position long enough to play it comfortably. Also, memorizing the notes is helpful, but it is more important to use the proper positioning. Once you are comfortable using proper fingers, move on and you'll find memorizing each note will come automatically as you play through this video course. Remember, the natural scale includes a major root note and a relative minor root note. The C major root note is on the third string, third fret, and the A minor root notes are on the third string open and the first string, second fret. Remembering the location of root notes will help you tremendously when writing, improvising, and playing solos. Now that we have dissected this position and learned the correct picking and fingering, let's play along with the tempo. For the beginners, we will start out at a slow tempo of 40 beats per minute, or 40 BPM. Then we'll speed it up a bit. We are playing 3 beats per measure, so the count is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We are also going to learn the scale pattern descending. It is the same fingerings, but everything is played in reverse. Here's the scale at 80 beats per measure. If that was too slow for you, don't worry. We'll be playing a lot faster before the next section of this video. Here's a tip for beginners. An entire piece of sheet music can sometimes look menacing. Break it down into small sections that you can handle. For example, focus on the first measure. Play it, then play it again. In fact, loop it over and over until it becomes smooth. Now learn the second measure by itself. When it becomes comfortable, combine the two measures. Keep adding measure by measure. And pretty soon, you'll be playing the entire musical piece in one sitting. F is the fourth note in the C major scale. C, D, E, F. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is also called the fourth position of the C major scale. The fourth string notes use a stretch, which may require some practice for beginner bassists. Use fingers 1, 2, and 4 for the fourth string, and fingers 1, 2, and 4 for the third and second strings. Use fingers 1, 3, and 4 for the first string. Remember, allow each note to ring out until the next one is played. Also, always alternate your picking strokes. For the F position, your thumb should be behind the third fret. If these groups of notes are giving you trouble, you can use different fingers until you are more comfortable with the suggested fingerings. If you consider yourself an intermediate or advanced player, learn the correct fingerings. You will find your playing will become more fluent and you will sound noticeably better. For this position, the C major root notes are on the third string, 3rd fret, and the first string, 5th fret. A minor root notes are on the 4th string, 5th fret, and the first string, 2nd fret. We'll play this slow, then speed it up, starting at 60 beats per minute or 60 BPM, then again at 120 BPM for more advanced players. Play along with a metronome starting at a slow pace, and when you can repeat a section a few times without error, increase the tempo 3 to 5 notches. If you can still play it comfortably at that pace, increase the tempo more. Do this until you reach your breaking point, and make a note of the tempo. If your top speed is 100 beats per minute, try for 105 the next day, then 110 the day after. Keep doing this, and you'll be playing lightning fast in no time. The G or 5th position C major scale has a starting on the 3rd fret of the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string with the 1, stretch, 2, 4 positioning. Then move up to the 1, 2, 4 position starting on the 4th fret of the 1st string. For this entire position, your thumb will be behind the 5th fret. The C major root notes are on the 3rd string, 3rd fret, and the 1st string, 5th fret. The A minor root notes are on the 4th string, 5th fret, and the 2nd string, 7th fret. We'll start at 70 BPM for a slow run, then 140 BPM for advanced players. A is also the root or first position of the minor scale. The A position uses fingers 1, 3, 4, starting on the 5th fret of the 4th and 3rd strings. fingers 1, stretch, 2, 4 for the second and first string. Place your thumb behind the 6th or 7th fret for this entire position. You might even shift it when you move up to the second and first strings. The C root notes are on the 4th string 8th fret and the 1st string 5th fret. A minor root notes are on the 4th string 5th fret and 2nd string 7th fret. Here's this position at 80 BPM and again at 160 BPM. B is the 7th tone in the C major scale, so B is also considered the 7th position. Here, we're playing our B note starting on the 7th fret of the 4th string, and this position uses fingers 1, 2, and 4 for the 4th and 3rd strings, and fingers 1, 3, and 4 for the 2nd and 1st strings. Your thumb can rest behind the 8th fret for the entire position. The C root notes are on the 4th string 8th fret and the 2nd string 10th fret. An A minor root note can be found on the 2nd string 7th fret. The C, or first position C major scale, starts on the 8th fret of the 4th string. You're going to use fingers 1, 2, and 4 for all 4 strings, with your thumb behind the 10th fret. On the 4th and 3rd string, we use positions 1, stretch, 2, 4, starting on the 8th fret, and for the 2nd and 1st string, we move up to the 9th fret and use the non-stretch 1, 2, 4 position. The C major root notes are on the 4th string 8th fret and 2nd string 10th fret. There's an A minor root note on the 3rd string 12th fret. The D, or second position of the C major scale, has a start on the 4th string 10th fret with fingers 1, 3, and 4, and fingers 1, stretch, 2, 4 for the rest. The C major root note is on the 2nd string 10th fret, the A minor root notes are on the 3rd string 12th fret and 1st string 14th fret. Here is the E or third position again. This is the octave of the open position. Notice that the notes in the E octave position are patterned identically to the notes of the open position. It is the same position played one octave or 12 notes or frets higher. This can be applied to every position that we learn. F, starting with the 13th fret of the 4th string. G with the 15th fret. A with the 17th. B on the 19th fret. C on the 20th. And D on the 22nd fret, provided that your bass guitar's frets go high enough. The octave E position starts on the 12th fret. The 4th string notes are played with your 1st, 2nd, and 4th fingers. Strings 3 and 2 are played with your 1st, 3rd, and 4th fingers. And the 1st string uses the 1 stretch 2-4 position. The C major root note is on the 3rd string 15th fret. A minor root notes are on the 3rd string 12th fret and 1st string 14th fret. In standard tuning, the open strings on a 5-string bass are tuned to B, E, A, D, and G. If you play a 5-string bass, these are the notes for each of the previous scale positions for the 5th or low string. These are also the same notes you would use on the 6th string of a 6-string bass. In standard tuning, the open strings on a 6-string bass are tuned to B, E, A, D, G, and C. The low strings on a 6-string bass are the same as the low notes of a 5-string bass. The image on the screen shows the 1st string notes for each of the previous positions for a 6-string bass guitar. If you are interested in memorizing these scale positions or learning to play them faster, this section is for you. First, we will ascend up the neck, then down the neck, playing each position faster as we go, starting at 100 BPM and ending at 250 BPM. People often ask me, how do you write bass lines or bass solos? The answer can be both simple and complex. I'll start out by answering simply, and throughout this video, I'll give you ideas for making your bass lines and solos more complex. Use different scale notes and positions together to create bass lines. To start, use scale notes only. Try any combination of scale notes. If you are playing with another musician, he or she should use chords taken from the scale you are playing. For example, C, F, and G are scale notes that can be used as chords. If the other musician is playing a rhythm using these chords, the most basic bass line would be to play the notes that name each chord. But you can easily play a more interesting bass line by using the natural scale along with the chords. To make your bass line stand out, you can use the different techniques and applications provided in this video and even invent a few of your own. As you get more comfortable, you can begin to change keys and even scales during a bass line, song, or a bass solo. There is no end to the possibilities of what you could do to any single note or group of notes. Take this scale and explore every possibility. Music is emotion. Learn to put your personal feelings into your playing. Happiness, sadness, love, hate, excitement, aggression. These are your personal feelings that you can express in your music. Write them, learn them, play them fast and slow. Question and answer or Q&A phrasing is another technique used for creating bass lines. Pick a scale position. By playing any combination of scale notes, other than the root note or key note, you can write a melody that sounds incomplete. This will pose as a question. To complete the question, play any combination of scale notes ending on the root note. This will pose as an answer. The natural scale can either be used as a major or minor key. There are also other modes of the natural scale, as well as key changes, which will be covered later on. For the key of C major, I'll play a simple question phrase by playing the B, D, then E note. For the answer, we'll complete the phrase by playing D, B, and end on C. Notice that we're including the root note for the answer. Here we'll take our scale and focus on the key of A minor. For the question, we can play C, D, then E. Remember, a question uses scale notes but avoids the root note. So for the answer, we will include the root note and we'll play D, C, and end on A, our minor root note. Here it is without speaking. Take some time and see how many 3- and 4-note Q&A phrases you can write. Another way to play a question phrase is to play any combination of scale notes, including the root note, but not ending on the root note. So for a minor example, we can start on A, play C, D, then C again for the question, or we can start on A, play C, D, and D for a question. For the answer, you can include any scale notes but end on the root note. You can also play different combinations of Q&A phrases. For example, place your focus on the question phrase by playing a question, question, then an answer. Here's one in the key of C major. you can drive home the focus on your answer by playing question, answer, answer. As we move on, after you have learned a technique or application in the upcoming sections, pause this video and create new Q&A phrases by incorporating the new technique or application. Each scale note can be used as a chord. These chords will complement each other just as the individual scale notes complement each other. You can use these chords to write a rhythm progression, then use the individual scale notes to write bass lines and melodies over the chords. These are the major and minor chords taken from the key of C. With the exception of B and B minor, every chord uses scale notes from the key of C. The B chord is a diminished chord. Because of its unusual tone, it is sometimes substituted with a B or B minor chord. There are several ways you can play these chords. You can pluck them all with your fingers, or you can strum them with a pick. It might be difficult to slap all three at the same time, but it can be done. A lot of bass players will slap the lowest note of a chord, then pop the remaining notes. This is sometimes called slap pop, or slapping and popping. For the C chord, slap the C note with your thumb. That's a note on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string. Then pop the E on the 2nd fret, 2nd string. Then pop the G on the 1st string open. You can also slap the C note with your thumb, then pop the E and G at the same time, using both the index finger and middle finger. We will explore several techniques and applications on this video that can be used with the slapping and popping techniques. The double note patterns later in this course are perfect for this technique. Once a chord is established, you can enhance your bass lines by exploring the rest of the scale notes. The next few chapters will give you plenty of ideas for adding to your bass lines. The most simple way to create a bass guitar solo is to use the scale notes only. Remember, scales are the foundation of music. We use scales to structure every audible part of a song, the melody, harmony, and the chords. In this section, we will learn some scale applications to be used with each scale position that you have learned. Rather than playing a scale ascending or descending from string to string, applications give you different melody patterns that keep the scale and your bass guitar playing interesting. These will greatly enhance your playing and writing ability. Listen for these applications when you are listening to your favorite songs. You will find that they are not just applied to the bass guitar. You will hear them in piano, voice, guitar, as well as many other musical instruments. Here we will break our scale into patterns of 2. So rather than playing the scale position straight through, we will begin with the first scale note, then play the second. Next, begin again on the second scale note and end on the third scale note. Play the third, then end on the fourth. Fourth note, fifth note, 6th, and on through the scale. So your pattern is 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5. We are going to apply increments of 2 to the open E or third scale position. Allow each note to ring out for a full count. This application is written in 2/4 timing. There are 2 beats per measure. A quarter note receives 1 beat. The count is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Here it is applied to the open E or third scale position of the C major A minor scale at a slow pace of 80 BPM. Without the use of sheet music, test your memory and try to play this pattern descending. Here it is a little bit faster at 160 BPM. I highly recommend that you apply this in all applications to every scale position that you've learned. Here we break the scale into patterns of 3. Begin with the first, then second scale note, end on the third. Begin again on the second scale note, then third, end on the fourth. Start on the third, then fourth, end on the fifth. Fourth, fifth, end on the sixth. So your pattern altogether is 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, and on through the scale. Allow each note to ring out for a full count. This application is written in 3/4 timing. There are 3 beats per measure. A quarter note receives 1 beat. The count is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Here it is applied to the F or 4th scale position of the C major A minor scale at a slow pace of 85 BPM and double time at 170 BPM. Without the use of sheet music, test your memory and try to play this pattern descending. For the 2 strings application, we're going to be playing 3 scale notes on each string of any scale position, breaking the scale into patterns of 2 strings. So, starting on the 4th string, we play notes 1, 2, and 3, followed by the 3rd string notes 4, 5, and 6. Then we repeat the 3rd string notes 4, 5, and 6, then add the notes on the 2nd string. So your pattern is notes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This application is written in 3/4 timing using eighth notes. There are 3 beats per measure. An eighth note receives half a beat, so the count is 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Here it is applied to the 5th scale position at a slow pace of 60 BPM, then 120 BPM. These applications are written out for you to get comfortable playing them on every string of your bass guitar. However, you probably will not use every string in a song because it would sound monotonous. The best way to use these applications is by mixing them up with others, or mixing them in with chords or lead phrases. For example, you might get an interesting sounding riff by mixing increments of 2, then 3 strings. Here we're going to play the 4th string notes, followed by the 3rd string notes, and back 1 note. Then repeat the 3rd string notes and the 2nd string notes, and back 1 note. 2nd and 1st string notes, and back 1 note. This application is written in 4/4 timing using eighth notes and quarter notes. There are 4 beats per measure. An eighth note receives half a beat. A quarter note receives 1 beat. The count is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Playing 3 scale notes on each string of any scale position, break the scale into patterns of 3 strings, 9 scale notes total, starting with the 4th string, 3rd, 2nd string. Then we repeat the notes on the 3rd string, 2nd, and 4th. And then we descend. This application is written in 3/4 timing using triplets. Triplets are eighth notes written in groups of 3. A triplet receives 1/3 of a beat. The count is 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a. Applied to the 7th scale position at a slow pace of 40 BPM, then a little bit faster at 80 BPM. This application has us playing the notes on 3 strings and then descending 4 notes. We begin again on the 3rd string and descend 4 notes. You can also play it in reverse. This application is written in 4/4 timing using 16th notes, triplets, and 8th notes. A 16th note receives 1/4 of a beat. A triplet receives 1/3 of a beat. An 8th note receives half a beat. The count is 1 E and a 2 and a 3 E and a 4 and 1 E and a 2 and a 3 E and a 4 and. Applied to the C or first scale position at a slow pace of 40 BPM, then 80 BPM. To incorporate rhythm, this pattern was written out mixing 16th, triplet, and 8th notes. This and any scale pattern or application can easily be applied to a straight duration. For example, here is the descending pattern played with straight 16th notes. Please take time and explore different rhythms with your favorite scale positions and applications. Breaking the scale into patterns of 4, we begin with the 4th string notes 1, 2, and 3, and on the 3rd string, note 4. Notes 2 and 3 on the 4th string, then notes 4 and 5 on the 3rd string. The 3rd scale note on the 4th string, then notes 4, 5, and 6 on the 3rd string. The pattern is 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6. This application is written in 4/4 timing using quarter notes. The quarter note receives 1 beat. The count is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Applied to the D or 2nd scale position of the C major scale, first at a slow pace of 130 BPM with quarter notes, then double time at 130 BPM with 8th notes. To play the last application with 8th notes, each note would receive half a beat. The count would now be 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 4 and. Here it is ascending and descending at a pace of 130 BPM. To play increments of 4 using 16th notes, each note would receive a quarter of 1 beat. The count would be 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. increments of 4 in 3/4 timing, you could play any combination of 2 quarter notes and 2 eighth notes. Using 2 quarter notes followed by 2 eighth notes, the count would be 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and. Here it is descending at a pace of 130 BPM. Using 1 quarter note followed by 2 eighth notes followed by another quarter note, the count would be 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3. Here it is ascending and descending at 130 BPM. Feel free to pause this video and explore different rhythms by applying any timing to any note or group of notes, and be sure to experiment with different timings on all applications. This application is increments of 4 and back 1 note. The pattern is 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. This is written in 4/4 timing using quarter notes and eighth notes. A quarter note receives 1 beat, an eighth note receives half a beat. The count is 1, 2, 3, 4, and. 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 Here it is descending at double speed, 200 BPM. Instead of using eighth notes at the end of each measure, the entire piece is played with quarter notes in 5/4 timing using 5 full beats per measure. For the step-down application, we're playing in the E or third scale position. However, we're starting with the second scale note, followed by the first, then the third scale note, followed by the second, fourth, then third, fifth, then fourth, sixth, then fifth, and on through the pattern. This application is written in 2/4 timing using quarter notes. There are 2 beats per measure, and a quarter note receives 1 beat. The count is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. The opposite of the step down application is step up. So here you'll play your 7th scale note, and then the 8th, 6th, then 7th, 5th, then 6th, 4th, then 5th, and on through the scale. This application is written in 4/4 timing using 8th notes. An 8th note receives half a beat. The count is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, played at 120. Earlier in this section, I suggested that you try playing these applications with different rhythms. Here are some basic principles to help you further explore timing. This chart below will show you the breakdown of the notes from whole to 16th notes in 4/4 timing. A whole note receives 4 beats per measure, so you would play the note counting 1, 2, 3, 4. A half note equals 2 beats, so you would play the note for 1, 2, 3, 4. Quarter notes receive 1 beat each, 1, 2, 3, 4. Eighth notes are split into half a beat, so we add the and pulse in between each number count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 16th notes break each note into 4 pulses, so now our timing will be 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. I'll play the rhythm on this chart using the open G for the first string. In 4/4 timing, a rhythm can use any combination of note types as long as the total count equals 4 complete beats. The following are some examples of rhythm combinations using half and quarter notes. Notice that each measure equals 4 beats. In rhythm 1, the combination is half, quarter, quarter, so the first note is held the longest. Hold the half note for counts 1 and 2. 1, 2. Play a quarter note for the 3 count. Play a quarter note for the 4 count. The total beats equals 4. You can repeat this rhythm over and over again. It can be applied to a single note, scale notes, scale applications, chords, and so on. Here is rhythm 1 applied to an open E. Rhythm 2 is the combination of quarter, half, quarter. The second note is held the longest. Hold the quarter note for count 1, half note for counts 2 and 3. Hold a quarter note for the 4 count. Here is rhythm 2 applied to the notes E, F, and G. Rhythm 3 is the combination of 2 quarter notes followed by a half note. The third note is held the longest. Hold the quarter note for beat 1, hold a quarter note for beat 2, hold the half note for beats 3 and 4. Total beats equals 4. Here is rhythm 3 applied to notes A, G, and F. Eighth notes equal half a beat, so each count needs to be separated into 2 pulses. Instead of using a basic count, 1, 2, 3, 4, Eighth notes are counted 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. In rhythm 1, the combination is half, quarter, eighth, eighth. Because the fourth beat consists of 2 eighth notes, it needs to be split into 2 accents. Instead of counting the fourth beat as 4, you need to count it as 4 and. Hold the half note for counts 1 and 2. Play a quarter note for the 3 count, play an eighth note for 4, and play an eighth note for and. Total beats still equals 4. Here's rhythm 1 applied to increments of 4 in the A or 6th position. Rhythm 2 is the combination of quarter, half, eighth, eighth. Again, the 4 count is split into 2 accents to accommodate the 2 eighth notes. Hold the quarter note for count 1. Hold the half note for counts 2 and 3. Hold an eighth note for the 4. Hold an eighth note for and. 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Here is rhythm 2 applied to increments of 4 in the B or 7th position. Rhythm 3 is the combination of quarter, eighth, eighth, half. There are 2 eighth notes in the space of the 2 count, so it is split into 2 accents, 2 and. Hold the quarter note for the 1 count, an eighth note for 2, an eighth note for and hold the half note for the 3 beat and the 4 beat. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Here is rhythm 3 applied to increments of 4 in the C or 1st position. This rhythm example uses half, quarter, eighth, and 16th notes. 16th notes equal a quarter of a beat, so each count needs to be separated into 4 pulses. In rhythm 1, the combination is half, eighth, eighth, 16th, 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 16th. Because the 4th beat consists of 4 16th notes, it needs to be split into 4 accents. Instead of counting the 4th beat as 4, you need to count it as 4 E and A. Hold the half note for counts 1 and 2. Play an eighth note for the 3 count. Play an eighth note for the and count. Play a 16th note for the 4, 16th note for E, 16th note for and, 16th note for A. The total beats is 4 beats. Here is rhythm 1 applied to the D or 2nd position. Rhythm 2 is a combination of quarter, eighth, eighth, 16th, 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 quarter. There are 4 16th notes in the space of the 3 count, so it is split up into 4 accents, 3 E and A. Hold the quarter note for the 1 count. Hold an eighth note for the 2 count. Hold an eighth note for the and count. 16th note for 3, 16th note for E, 16th note for and, 16th note for A. Then play a quarter note for the 4 count. Total beats equals 4. Here is rhythm 2 applied to the E or 3rd position. By simple definition, a technique is a way to manipulate a note and make it sound different. To be able to play notes is one thing, but to move a listener, or even yourself as a player, you need to do more than just play a note. You need to give it life. Although there is no substitute for soul, learning and using techniques will certainly help you achieve the status quicker. The techniques offered on this video are intended to give life to your music. As I progressed as a musician, I began to realize that a single note is just as important, if not more important, than any group of notes. Give your music life. Give each note you play an emotion. When you play the notes in this course, listen for an emotion or feeling. They are not predetermined. There is no wrong or right emotion. It is open to what you hear and feel. This is what music is, and this is your journey to become a better musician. For the double picking technique, we're simply going to pick each note twice. The palm mute is achieved by resting the palm of your picking hand on the string you are picking. You can also use your pinky as an extension of your palm to mute higher strings, if your palm doesn't cover all of the strings. You can alter the duration of the note you are playing by moving your palm closer or farther from the bridge while playing a note. The symbol for the palm mute is a P period, M period, followed by a dotted line. The dotted line will extend for as long as you are required to apply the palm mute. Notice the break on the third measure where the B note on the third string, second fret, is not palm muted. This combination is written in 4/4 timing using triplets and 16th notes. Here we are playing increments of 3, double picking and palm muting, then increments of 4, double picking and palm muting. Vibrato is excellent for building finger strength. It is achieved by continuously bending a note and returning it to its original pitch. To apply this technique, allow your thumb of your playing hand to hang over the neck of your bass above your middle finger. Use the appropriate playing finger to hold the note you want to play, and bend or shake the string by twisting your forearm. Do not bend your wrist, and do not bend the string by bending your fingers. What you want to do is hold the note and just rotate your hand or rotate your wrist. You may find it difficult to apply vibrato with your pinky. If so, substitute those notes with your ring finger by sliding it up. to whichever note you want to play and apply the vibrato technique. The vibrato technique is difficult to achieve on the first string of most bass guitars, so don't worry too much if you can't get it to shake on the first string. We'll start out very slow, exaggerating the bending of each note. And as you build up strength and build up speed, eventually vibrato will become second nature to you. Here it is applied to the C position, first at 80 BPM, then 160. Passing tones are non-scale notes played between scale notes. So between C and D, you have a passing tone on the 9th fret. Passing tones may not sound desirable out of sequence, but they can be used to connect two scale notes together. In this exercise, the initials P period, T period have been placed above each passing tone. Here it is at 120 BPM. Play this exercise at a slow pace, holding each note for a 4 count, bending the string for each count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Eventually you'll build up enough speed and the vibrato with passing tones will become second nature. The hammer-on technique is achieved by picking a note, then hammering a higher fret on the same string with your free fingers to produce another note without picking again. For example, play the 3rd string, 5th fret with your first finger, picking only once. Then using the tip of your 3rd finger, hammer onto the 7th fret without picking that note. You can control the sound level of your hammer-on by how hard or how soft you apply this technique. Here is an exercise that combines hammer-ons with passing tones and gives us a very rapid-sounding musical movement. There is a slide at the end of the first 2 measures. The symbol for a slide is a slash with an SL above it. Slides are achieved by sliding your finger up or down the fretboard while holding a note. In the piece below, slide the 11th fret notes to the 12th fret on the 4th and 3rd string. This combo gets a little tricky if you're not careful. The first measure is simple enough. Pick the first note, then hammer to the next two. In the second measure, you pick the third fret and hammer to the fifth fret. Then you have to pick the second fret of the third string. For the third measure, return to pick the fifth fret of the fourth string, then pick the second fret on the third string and hammer to the third fret. Take this technique and application combo slow at first, and once you get used to it, you'll find that you can achieve some lightning fast runs. The names of the notes and the fingerings for these positions are the same as you have learned in section 3 of this video. The only difference is they are played 1 octave or 12 frets higher in pitch. To help you learn these new positions, try combining them with other scale positions in the natural scale. Also, try them out with your favorite rhythms, techniques, and applications. The opposite of a hammer-on, pull-offs are achieved by picking a fretted note, then pulling the finger that you are using to fret that note away from the fretboard at a 45-degree angle, producing a lower pitched note on the same string without picking it. The note being produced by the pull-off can be fretted or open. For this combination, pick a note only when you change strings. Use the hammer-ons and pull-offs for all of the same string notes. Again, a slide is achieved by fretting a note and sliding it without releasing pressure. You could slide up or down in pitch. Here we'll take the increments of 3 application, but apply it to one string and mix it in with the slide technique. So we'll start with the open A, go to B and C for 3 increments, then back to B on the 2nd fret, up 3 notes, back 1, back 1. This combination is great for working your way up and down the fretboard. By sliding to a 4th note on each string, you are moving up or down to the next scale position. This can be a great exercise to get to know the fretboard. Instead of starting on the 4th string for an ascending run, start with an open note on the 3rd or 2nd string. You can also move up to 5 or 6 notes for each string before moving to the next scale position. For a descending run, start above the 17th fret on the 2nd or 3rd string. The most obvious place to start a bass guitar solo is on the root note. But you can really spice up your leads by starting with a harmony note. For example, if you are starting a lead or a solo over a G chord, the obvious starting note would be a G note. However, you can make your leads more interesting by starting off on other root notes that make up the G chord, G, B, or D. And remember, you're playing in a key based on your scale. Any scale note will fit in a passing sequence. Most will work if you hold them for a duration. Just stay within the scale and you'll always be safe. If by chance you do land on a note that sounds off, quickly slide, hammer, or pull off to play the next scale note and you'll be just fine. This technique is limited to the electric bass guitar, giving it a violin or cello type sound. It is achieved by playing a note with your bass guitar's volume knob on off. Then increase the volume while holding the note. You can also use vibrato. And you could also incorporate higher notes. Music is made up of more than just notes. Sometimes the lack of a note can make a piece stand out. Just as there are symbols for the notes that you play, there are also symbols for the times when you don't play notes. These symbols are called rests. There are rest symbols for every note symbol. Here is a comparison chart for notes and their equal rests. In the first 2 measures, we have a whole note and a whole rest. Next are half notes and half rests, then quarter notes and quarter rests. Here are 1/8 notes and 1/8 rests, and 16th notes and 16th rests. Here are some basic rhythms, combining notes and rests. Repeat each rhythm over and over again until you are comfortable playing it. At first, apply each rhythm to one note. When you can play a rhythm smoothly, then apply it to chords and multiple scale notes. Damping is used to end the duration of a note being played. One way to achieve the damping effect is to hold the note and play it, and then lightly release the pressure of the note so that it stops ringing out. Another way to achieve the damping effect is to play the note, and with your free fingers of the playing hand, mute the string. Or you can play the note, and with your picking hand, mute the string. So there are a lot of different ways that you can achieve the damping effect. Harmonics produce a chime-like sound. It is achieved by placing your finger just above the indicated fret on the string you are picking. Do not apply pressure to the string, and do not allow any other fingers to touch the string. In fact, after the harmonic is picked, you can pull your hand completely away from the string. Natural harmonics can be achieved on the nut or open notes, and I'll show you an example. Listen to the string open without the harmonic. You see how bright and tinny it is, and look what the harmonic does to it. You move up to the 5th fret, 7th fret, 12th fret, the 17th fret, 19th fret, and the 24th fret. Take some time to experiment with harmonics above other frets. You will find that you can achieve harmonics in other areas on the string. However, they will not sound as clear as the notes that have been given. Artificial or pinch harmonics can be achieved by fretting a note and with your picking hand, allow the edge of your thumb to touch the string when you pick it. This will produce a higher, squealing pitch to the note that you have played. picking hand or palm harmonic can be achieved by using a finger or the palm of your picking hand to lightly touch the string 12 frets above a fretted note while picking that note. So here I'm fretting the 5th fret on the 4th string, and with my index finger I'm lightly touching that same string 12 frets up on the 17th fret, and I'll use my middle finger to pick behind it. If I run through a scale position, I'll have to move my hand to go along with what I'm playing with my playing hand here. The other way to achieve this is to take the palm of your picking hand and lightly rest the palm 12 frets above your fretted note. And that allows you to pick the note and still achieve the harmonic because your palm is touching the harmonic spot. You can also achieve these type of harmonics on other areas of the string. Most noticeable harmonics are produced 5, 7, 12, 17, 19, and 24 frets above any fretted note. Tremolo picking is achieved by picking a note rapidly. Tapping is achieved by using the index or middle finger of your picking hand to tap or hammer onto a fret, producing a pitch. And then you can pull off to a fretted note or to an open note. The musical notation for tapping is a plus sign or the letter T. If you play the bass with a pick, that's when using your middle finger to tap comes in handy. If you pick the notes with your fingers, then it'll be easy for you to incorporate both tapping with the index finger and the middle finger. That's helpful if you start to tap on 2 different strings. In this example, we will move our tapping finger from string to string on the 7th fret while our fretboard fingers play the same notes. In this example, we will move our tapping finger while our fretboard fingers play the same notes for each string. this technique, we'll tap the 12th fret notes, pull off to the open note of each string, and then throw in a scale position in between. So we'll start with the F scale position, then next on the same string we'll throw in the G scale position, tap the 12th fret, open, A position, 12th fret, open, B position. Then we'll move down to the 3rd string. For the tap pull hammer technique, we'll tap on the 12th fret and then pull away to a scale position, pull that away to the open position, and then return with a hammer on. Frets. There are 2 ways to tap harmonics. First is to tap the way we've been tapping, where you hammer onto the fretboard and you pull off to a note. In this case, we'll pull off to a harmonic. You can also tap harmonics for a fretted note. This is achieved by tapping the fret wire 5, 7, or 12 frets above a fretted note. For example, we'll fret the C note on the 1st string, 5th fret, and tap the 10th fret wire, or the 12th fret wire. This tap hammer technique is applied so that the tapping hand follows the fret hand as it moves down in pitch in movements of 2. Here are some ideas to consider when you're tapping. You can leave your fretboard hand in the same spot, but move your tapping hand to new positions. Use your tapping hand in the same fret, but move your fretboard hand. You can lengthen or shorten the distance between your tapping and fretboard hands. There are an infinite number of possibilities when it comes to tapping. Spend some serious time exploring the possibilities of tapping. Use your own creativity to combine scale notes, different strings, techniques, applications, rhythms, and even picking techniques along with your tapping. String bending is a technique used to alter the pitch of a note by bending the string with your fingers. To apply this technique, allow the thumb of your fretboard hand to hang over the neck of your bass guitar, above your middle finger. The note you wish to bend should in most cases be fretted with your third or ring finger, and you could even put your middle or second finger behind it for assistance. As your fingers get stronger, you may not find this necessary. You can also use your index finger to lay across other strings to prevent stray notes. To stay in key when bending strings, you must bend in scale are made up of half steps and whole steps. A half step is equal to 1 fret. If you are playing the natural scale and you want to bend the B note, you would bend the note up a half step to sound a C note. Note up a whole step, you would be playing a C sharp, which is not in the key or the scale that we are playing. Technique with many applications. You can create several interesting phrases by bending a single note. Release the note. Bend and release is where you bend a note to raise the pitch, and then release the note back to its original position. Rebend, where you bend a note before picking, while letting it bend and release, where you bend the note, pick the note, then steadily release the note while letting it ring out. Also the ghost bend. Pick the note with the bass guitar volume off and increase the volume while you bend the note. A note that is three scale notes up in pitch from another scale note is called a third. A third harmony is when you play these two notes together. A note that is 4 scale notes up in pitch from another note is called a fourth. note that is 5 scale notes up in pitch from a root note is called a fifth. For this application, play the third scale note, second, then first, fourth, third, second, fifth, fourth, third, sixth, fifth, fourth, and on through the scale. This application is written in 3/4 timing. For this application, we're going to pivot from our root note or our starting note all the way up to the octave. So we'll play the first scale note, then the second. Pivot back to the first, then the third. First, fourth, first, fifth, and continue this pattern all the way up to the octave, and then we'll move on to the next scale note. Playing 3 scale notes per string, play the notes on the 4th string, skip the 3rd string, then play the notes on the 2nd string. Next, go back to the 3rd string, play the scale notes there, skip the 2nd string and play the notes on the 1st string, and then reverse. More on a shape. This pattern is based more on a shape than anything else. Starting with any scale note, count that as your 1 note. Then play the 5th scale note above it. Play the 3rd scale note. Then the 2, 4, 6, then 5. Again, here's what we've got. 1, 5, 3, 2, 4, 6, 5. Now we'll start at the 3rd string and take the 1st scale note from that scale pattern and count it as 1 and apply the same pattern. 1, 5, 3, 2, 4, 6, 5. Now we'll start with the 1st scale note of the 2nd string. Congratulations! If you have followed this video course from the beginning, you have achieved a great playing ability as well as a great level of knowledge on your bass guitar. If you haven't already exhausted yourself trying all of the techniques and applications in every scale position, I strongly suggest that you do so. Each and every new technique or application you learn can be explored for a lifetime. There is no limit. When you push yourself to your limits, you will broaden your horizons. That is how new styles of playing have been created. That is what makes a player one of the greats. If you are dedicated to music, in this case, bass guitar, you will greatly benefit by playing these pieces not only in the positions which I have presented them in, but also in other scale positions you have learned, and later to the other keys and scales in the remainder of this video. I also recommend using your own creativity to come up with your own combinations of notes, techniques, applications, and rhythms. Once again, pushing your limits will broaden your capabilities and make you a better bass guitarist. This applies to anything in life. The natural scale, as we know, consists of the major and minor key. It also consists of 5 others. Just as there are 7 notes in the natural scale, there are 7 modes as well. They are the Aeolian, Locrian, Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, and Mixolydian. A mode is another name for a scale. When playing the natural scale, we know that if our focus is on the A note, or in other words, we make A our root note, we are playing the minor scale. Technically, this natural scale, A to A, is called the Aeolian mode. Here is a list of each mode in the natural scale. The natural scale A to A is called the Aeolian mode. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. The natural scale B to B is called the Locrian mode. B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. The natural scale C to C, which we know is our major scale, is also called the Ionian mode. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. The natural scale D to D is called the Dorian mode. D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. The natural scale E to E is called the Phrygian mode. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. The natural scale F to F is called the Lydian mode. F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. And the natural scale G to G is called the Mixolydian mode. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. These are technical definitions, and that is why I've saved them for this part of the video. In one sentence, it can be summed up to this: all 7 modes equal 1 natural scale. So you have been playing all 7 modes since the beginning of this video. We'll study more on modes after we learn to change keys. When someone refers to the key of C, they are referring to the natural scale, or C major, or C Ionian scale. When someone refers to the key of A, they are referring to the key of A major or A Ionian. A major is the C to C natural scale pattern, or scale degrees, but applied to the A note as the root. The distance between notes can be measured with whole steps and half steps. A whole step is equal to 2 frets on the guitar. A half step is equal to 1 fret. When you want to change the key of a scale or a song, just apply the same pattern of whole steps and half steps to the key you wish to play in. For example, the C natural major scale from root to root is made of a whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, and a half step. The sixth note of each major scale is the minor root note. So if you remember from the beginning of this course, in the key of C, A is the relative minor root note. Will apply to any key of music, regardless of what key it is, A, B, C, D, or any other key. This whole step, half step, whole, half formula will always make a major scale. So if we move from C as our root note up 1 fret to the D flat note and apply the same scale formula, we are now playing a D flat major scale. If we move up 1 more fret and apply the same formula, we are in the key of D. The next note on the 6th fret of the 3rd string is an E flat note. So this is the key of E flat or the E flat scale. The 7th fret of the 3rd string brings us to an E note or an E major scale. The 8th fret is F. The 9th fret is F sharp. The 10th fret is G. The 11th fret is G sharp. The 12th fret is A. The 13th fret is B flat. The 14th fret is B. And the 15th fret is the C octave. I'd also like to demonstrate that some of these patterns repeat in the open position as well. For example, the 12th fret was an A note. Our 3rd string open is an A note. So if we apply the same formula of half steps and whole steps, we have an A major scale. Applied to the 1st fret, we have another way to play our B flat major scale. The 2nd fret is B, and as we know, the 3rd fret is C. You now know the Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian scales, or modes, in every key and every position on the guitar. Remember, the fretboard repeats itself after the 12th fret. Also, these modes derive from the natural scale patterns, so when you convert the natural scale to numbers or scale degrees, instead of C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, you now call it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then 8 or 1 again for the octave. You can then convert the modes to fit in the key that you wish to play in. For example, when you were playing the natural scale D to D or 2 to 2, you were playing the Dorian mode. If you change to the key of G and play A to A or 2 to 2, you are playing the A Dorian mode. Try experimenting with different modes in place of the major and minor scales. For example, you might like the sound of A Dorian over an A minor chord. Or, since the F chord is made up of the notes F, A, and C, try A Dorian over an F. Since C is part of the F chord, try C Locrian over an F. You can also mix these up in a rhythm progression. One measure, you might go from an F chord to an F major run. In the next measure, you might go from F to an A Dorian run. Then from F to a C Dorian run. Experiment with all of the modes. Then, once you get familiar with what works best for you, mix in your favorite techniques and applications. Let's run through all of the modes applied to C as our root. As a bonus, I've added a master modes chart using the 7 universal scale positions which we have learned in section 3 of this video. Notice the fingerings are the same. The only difference is the initials of each mode, or rather mode root, have been added to the note charts. You can view this full-size master modes chart in the stills section of this video. While modes can really enhance your playing, don't worry too much if you don't grasp the concept right away. I've witnessed many bassists dive headfirst into the study of modes only to forget the big picture of why they started playing bass in the first place, to make music and have fun doing it. Known widely as the blues or rock scale, the pentatonic scale consists of the same notes as the natural scale, less the 4th and 7th scale degrees. So for our root, we still have the C, the D, E, we skip the F note and go to the G, A, skip the B note and go to the C. The step pattern for the pentatonic scale is whole, whole, 1.5 or 3 frets, whole, and 1.5. Applied to the C, it looks like this. Just like the natural scale, for the major pentatonic scale, use the C, or first scale note, as your root. For the minor pentatonic scale, use the A as your root. For your reference, the minor pentatonic scale is 1.5 whole, whole, 1.5 whole. Applied to an A note, it looks like this. Again, the C major pentatonic scale and the A minor pentatonic scale both share the same notes. It's your focus on the root note that changes the quality or emotion of the song. For example, if I play a riff and I end on a C note, it sounds bright or happy, maybe a country or a major blues sound. If I play the same group of notes and end on A, it might sound bluesy or kind of sad. Scale is so widely used in popular music, this next section is going to combine the different positions of the pentatonic scale with some of the techniques and applications we have learned so far throughout this video. In one way, this will test your memory of all the tricks and techniques we have learned so far, and it will also act as an example of how you can apply tricks and techniques to the exotic and cultural scales to come. Theory of practice. Many of these scales come from different cultures around the world. While there is no popular form or theory of practice in using these in popular music styles, they still find their way into the mainstream from time to time. When exploring these scales, try adding them to songs and progressions you already play. While they may not always work, you will find some amazing phrases to add to your bass guitar playing. Space on this DVD hasn't allowed us to play each scale in all of the musical keys or play each scale with the extensive techniques and applications found in the first half of this video. However, you should at this stage be comfortable with applying this yourself and even coming up with creations of your own. If you do need the extra guidance required to take these exotic scales a step further, please visit mjsppublications.com/moretsta.php. There you will find updates about products that will continue your bass guitar training and the total scales, techniques, and applications method beyond the scope of this DVD. For this section on exotic scales, I will play the scale from root to octave, ascending, then descending. Instead of a minor scale is very unique because it takes our minor and incorporates a major sixth, instead of a minor sixth, and a major seventh instead of a minor seventh. It is also unique because some styles of music play it differently on the descent as they do on the ascent. In classical music, it's common to play the melodic minor ascending and then play the natural minor descending. However, in popular music, there are many styles that will play the melodic minor both ascending and descending. My name is Mark John Sternal, and I've enjoyed sharing with you on bass guitar, total scales, techniques, and applications.